Hey guys, I'd like to introduce a new character to you. It's called Finally Guy. Finally. Finally. I'm all tired today, so we'll see what Finally Guy has to bring. But this is basically the idea behind Finally Guy. See, Finally Guy is a really good-natured soul. He's just completely average in every way. He's white, so I'm sorry. He's white. And he's middle class. I'm sorry. He's middle class. But this is necessary, you see, because Finally Guy is really there for all of us. And by putting him in the middle, he's there to reflect us even better. Because, you see, Finally Guy is just the nicest guy you can imagine. I mean, if you were a black guy, and every day of your life some white dude came and just totally shit on everything you believed in and make you feel like shit, and it was all you could do to keep from murdering him right then and there, and that happened every day of your life, well, if you met Finally Guy, you would be like, he's okay. And that's the kind of guy Finally Guy is, because, you know, he's just like that. I mean, he's just a decent person. That's what he is. He's a decent person. In fact, in some ways, he's the first decent person to actually appear on this channel. And that's part of what makes Finally Guy such a finally, you see, because he's finally guy. It's like finally someone who's just an everyday guy. I mean, he's not a sexual assault. He's not like, you know, twiddling chicks in the corner somewhere. He's not embezzling money. He's not trying to sell out his kids. He's not, you know, angling for fame. He's not trying to get 2 new cars. He's not trying to, you know, impress the Joneses. He's not trying to, you know, he's really just an ordinary, he's Finally Guy because he's finally, here's the all-American dude, okay? I mean, you know, he has a normal family, he has normal kids, he has a normal dog, he has a normal house, and the house isn't too much, and the house isn't too little, and he doesn't, you know, he doesn't live somewhere where, like, you know, raises any eyebrows. He's not like he's living off, you know, the beach in California or Malibu, but he's not living in some weirdo place either. He's just living in a perfectly acceptable place, okay? I mean, it's perfectly acceptable. And even if you had to live out of a cardboard box on 6th Street, okay, and you went to Family Guy's house, you would be like, well, he's okay. I mean, it's all right. I mean, I know I've been living on a box on 6th Street, and the police hassle me there every day, and I have to worry about dudes coming in and ripping my cardboard box open and just beating me up for the fun of it. But when they go to Finally Guy's house, it's okay, because, you know, Finally Guy, he's innocent. He doesn't understand that, like, the way he lives is like a death sentence for like 70% of the world, because he's not even capable of processing that. But if he was, he'd be horrified, but he wouldn't know what to do. So Finally Guy is just, like, you know, amazing, because, you know, he's just Finally Guy, okay? And like, you know, one day he was like with his family, and he was saying, you know, this is the 4th week of my diet. I weighed myself once at the beginning of the 4 weeks, and I can feel I've lost weight, and I'm finally gonna know what it's like to wear a 32 waistline. And he was just so pleased with himself. He just turned, you know, his wife's, finally, I'm gonna know what it's like to have a 32 waistline. And she just looked right at him and says, no, you aren't. He goes, well, no, I am. I've been sticking to my diet for 4 weeks, and not if I have anything to say about it. The last thing anyone wants for you to do, Finally Guy, is actually get something you want. And he was just, you know, he's such a nice guy. He's just completely confused, and he's just like, well, honey, what could you possibly object to about that, you know? And you know, she doesn't even say anything, but what she does is she goes to the refrigerator and just takes all of the, all of the diet food and just throws it down the garbage disposal. And then she goes out to the bakery and she fills every shelf in the refrigerator with, like, chocolate cake. So now, like, you open up the fridge and there are like 4 chocolate cakes, each one bigger than the last, all side by side, with interspersed with gallons of milk. and like, and so finally Guy comes into the kitchen, and this is the last day of my diet. Tomorrow I'll actually be able to weigh myself and see that I'll be able to put on a 32 waistline. And he walks in there, all the kids are there, they got chocolate all over their face, and they got cherries, marshmallow cherries, and they're coming out their ears, and one's got one stuck up his nose, and they're, oh, kids, that's a lot of cake. Is it someone's birthday? Did I miss something? No, Dad, this is all for you. And they offer him this giant piece of chocolate cake. He says, well, that's completely against my diet, guys. I don't think I should be eating. Oh, come on, Dad, it's just this once. We don't always have chocolate cake like this. Please, Dad. Well, no, I'm on this diet. Dad, I'm gonna cry if you don't have some chocolate cake. Ah! So finally, Guy, being just a nice, great guy, he sits down and he ends up eating 42 pounds of cake. And so, like, the next day, he can't even crawl out of bed, and his boss is all sore at him and says, you're a pathetic piece of shit loser, you piece of shit asshole, for eating 42 pounds of cake right before I needed you for this important deadline meeting. You're lucky I'm not going to fire you, because I couldn't fire you. I know you die and have a mental breakdown, and I can't do that to you, but if I could, I would. And it slams down the phone. And so there's finally Guy, and he's like, oh, well, and he throws up for 20th time that morning and says, well, maybe in 4 more weeks I'll finally be able to see what it's like to have a 32 waistline.